Hello, early modernists. My name is Penelope Hollett, and I will be your instructor for this course. In this video, we're going to go through the syllabus as well as our general processes for proceeding through the course for this semester. I would encourage you to bring up your syllabus to follow along, because I'm going to just be proceeding linearly through the syllabus as it's posted. Okay, as you can see, this is Philosophy 2210, Early Modern Philosophy, in fall of 2025. My name is Dr. Penelope Hollett. You're also welcome to just refer to me as Penelope or Penny. I enjoy a more informal atmosphere in my classes, so that's totally okay. I'm a recent graduate of the University of New Mexico's PhD program, and I teach part-time at both C&M and UNM. My pronouns are she, her, so please refer to me as such. You'll see that the office hours for this course are listed from Monday 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. or by appointment. The reason why things are set up this way is because as you may or may not know, everyone was recently moved out of the humanities classroom and into the parish library. That means instead of having offices that are private, we now each have cubicles. So if you would like to schedule office hours with me, please just get in contact with me and we can arrange something, even if it's outside of these normal hours. You'll see that the email listed there is Penelope Hollett, so just my first name and last name, at gmail.com. You're also welcome to reach out to Penelope Hollett at unm.edu. I will do my best to respond promptly to either email, so either one is completely fine. Now, we're going to be discussing sort of an introduction to early modern philosophy in much more detail in our next video, so I'm not going to spend too much time reading this course overview, except to say that early modern philosophy is a really important course for entering into the philosophy major. For those of you who have looked at the requirements for the major, you will notice that this is the only completely non-negotiable class. Every other class, there are multiple options that you can choose to fulfill. So for example, you can choose to take ancient Greek philosophy or ancient Greek thought, but there are no options for this class. Early modern philosophy is taken to be absolutely central to philosophy as it's practiced today within philosophy departments. It's a very challenging course. I will say that for some people, it is their least favorite requirement that they take, for the philosophy major. But I hope that over the course of the semester, we can show that although this material really is quite difficult, it's also incredibly rich and interesting. And there's a reason for why philosophers continue to think that this span of thinkers, beginning roughly from René Descartes and ending roughly with Immanuel Kant, is so vital and important for philosophy today. So that's just to say, this class is hard. We're going to be reading a lot of old material. We're going to be reading that material as much as possible in full, or at least in complete sections, and that will be very demanding on you. It's a tough course. I think it's one of the hardest 200 level courses, but we will discover the fun in it and the joy in it and get through it together. Now, in the learning outcomes and objectives, basically what I have to say is this, that obviously our main goal is to learn early modern philosophy together. But our kind of secondary goal is to learn how to succeed in demanding, high-level humanities coursework. This class, in a way, is a kind of bridge to doing upper-level philosophy coursework. It's the class not only that is non-negotiable for the major, it's also the course that is the prerequisite for the highest number of courses afterwards. So this course is really meant to prepare you to put your feet in the water for doing really high level humanities and social science kind of thinking about deep philosophical problems. So we're both going to learn about the course content, but we're also going to develop a skill set together. And those two things ideally are going to go hand in hand. Now, the only required text for this class is Roger Aryu's and Eric Watkins' Early Modern Philosophy and Anthology of Primary Sources. I used the 3rd edition. This is a Hackett book. It should be available for you at the library. It is also available online in various locations. If you have trouble acquiring the textbook, please reach out to me. I do want you to know that all other readings for this class will be made available as in PDF format on Learn. If you use an online version of the textbook, please note that I am not using the PDF page numbers. I'm using the book page number, the physical page numbers that are given within the curly brackets within the online version of the book. You should know because for any given week, I might ask you to read Descartes, and if, you start reading something or it begins in the middle of a reading and it's not Descartes, then you know that you are tracking the wrong page numbers. Now, as far as the method of evaluation for the course, there are 3 components to your grade. The first component is reading responses. I'll have more to say about each of these assignments in just a moment. The second third of your grade is your midterm. And the third component of your grade is your final exam. These 3 components constitute 100% of your final grade. You might notice that 33 times 3 equals 99 and not 100. That means that you get 1 point as a gimme point for the semester. All other components of your grade will come from these 3 components. Now, before we begin on what each of these 3 components entails, I do want to note that there is an extra credit option available in this course. There is what I call our asynchronous extra credit. Posted onto Canvas is a document detailing the rubric and expectations for the asynchronous extra credit assignment. Essentially, these are extra readings that I wish that we could read together. That if I could, I would just cram into our class in addition to everything that it is that we're doing. And you can get extra credit for reading one of these papers and providing a 2-page response summarizing the paper as well as providing your reaction to it. If you do so, I will add 5 points maximum to your midterm or final grade up to a maximum of 100 on each. So in other words, you can't receive 110 or 120 on your final. These asynchronous extra credit points will only get you to the maximum, which is 100%. I also want you to note that these extra credit points apply only to your midterm and your final. So in other words, the first component of your grade, reading responses, it is not possible to bump up with extra credit. So let's talk about the reading response and the weekly routine now. I mentioned that this class is asynchronous and online. That means that there's no required Zoom time at any point in the week, and that our only ability to converse with one another, for the most part, is going to be limited to how we interface with one another in Learn. This is tough because I think that one of the main ways that you learn within philosophy classes is actually learning in discussion, and especially from other students. That means that I think that we have to settle for what's ultimately second best, writing. So here's generally how this course is going to work, our course procedures. each week, specifically on Monday, I will make an announcement, I will post the lectures for the week, and I will open a discussion thread. You'll be expected each week to post a 1 to 3 paragraph reply on each discussion forum by the Sunday night of each week. So in other words, you are expected to contribute to the discussion forum before the next discussion forum is posted. I know that these discussion forums are very often a waste of time. Part of the reason why they're a waste of time is because there is a requirement on the part of classes like mine that you do them. The expectation is set quite low, and so people end up posting things that are ultimately not very philosophically interesting or helpful. You know, it's a common meme, I guess, for people to say something like, "Oh, I agree with you. That was such a great point. You said that so well," right? And saying something like this can be the equivalent of getting away with not really providing a reading response to that week. So here's my challenge to you and to us. I want us to try to take this space seriously. If I'm right that a lot of the learning that happens in philosophy happens from your other students, then what that means is that you shouldn't just be posting your own contribution to the discussion forum to get your grade, but you should be reading your peers' response, and you should be engaging with them, ideally. I do not and will not require you to respond to one another, in part because I think it really encourages that mode of response that I was referring to earlier, where people are obsequious and just sort of reply to each other saying that they agree and so on, to be done with it, right? I want you to try to think about your classmates as keen sources of insight. When you're writing on the discussion forum, you're not just writing for me as your instructor that will grade your work. You're also writing for your peers. These discussion forums can be a really invaluable resource if, collectively, we decide to take it seriously. It can be a great place to go to study. It can be a great place to go whenever you are thinking about what you want to write your paper, for example, on. And there's a lot of insight that we can gain from one another. We each bring our own unique perspective to this material. While I've gone through it a lot of times, you are approaching this material fresh, and that's a perspective that I don't have. And so just like you have plenty to learn from me, I have plenty to learn from you. And that goes for all of your classmates as well. So my challenge to you and to all of us is to really try to take this space seriously. Don't try to just write to get it done, as it were, and, you know, get your grade, right? And it's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to not have the answers. I'm not expecting you in these discussion forum posts to know everything, for example, about Descartes or whoever it is that we're talking about for any given week. Instead, I'm asking you to contribute to our classroom by trying to work through the material in some kind of way. So that can even just be taking a paragraph or something from our readings and saying, I really don't get this. What's going on here? Can anyone help me? This kind of response is perfectly acceptable and will be absolutely enough to receive 100% credit for your discussion forum posts for that week. And in general, my end of the bargain, if I'm asking you not to write these for a grade, that means that I'm not going to be thinking about grades primarily when I'm reading them. What that means is that if you are offering a contribution of some kind, then you are going to receive full credit for your discussion forum. I'm not looking for the right answer. I'm looking for your thoughts and your response to what it is that we have read. And so please don't use ChatGPT for this. Please don't stress out about saying the right thing. You will get credit for this just by working through the material. Okay, next component of your grade. For your midterm assignment, I'm asking you to write a short 3 to 4 page review of a piece of secondary literature in philosophy. Secondary literature refers to historical scholarship on a philosopher, so that's what we're trying to create in this class. I will provide a detailed rubric of my expectations for this paper, as well as a list of appropriate secondary material on Canvas. You are welcome to propose some piece of secondary literature that I have not offered if it is peer-reviewed and argumentative. I want you to know that this midterm, the expectation is not only that you provide a summary of the article in question, although that is part of it, but I want your review to be evaluative. That means that you are meant to be asking questions like, is their interpretation correct? What does it help to explain? Was it worth reading, or why? If you are unfamiliar with a review as a style of philosophical writing, I really highly recommend that you check out this website, the Notre Dame Philosophical Review, NDPR. It's a well-known website for publishing short reviews of philosophy books, and some of those reviews may provide a helpful example of writing in this genre. Finally, the last aspect of your grade is your final paper. Your final paper will be a 4 to 6 page argumentative paper on a substantive issue that we discuss in the course. I will post a rubric towards the end of this semester. From there, you will see a grading scale. This is all standard for the plus-minus grading system. After that, you'll see a brief note about how we are taking this class online. In general, what I have to say about us taking this class online is this. I understand that life happens. COVID is still out there. There are all sorts of things that can ruin our best made plans. So sometimes assignments or discussion forums or things of that nature are going to be late. However, what is not acceptable within this class is what I call going AWOL, absent without official leave. That means that, for example, if you try to do something like maybe you've kept up with the discussion forums and the readings up to week 3, then we roll around to December and it's week 14 or 15, and you're panicking because you totally forgot that you have this online class, and you try to do everything right at the end of the semester. That is not acceptable. The reason why that is not acceptable in this class is because our only way to learn with one another is by keeping our discussion together. It's not reasonable to expect someone in week 15 or 16 of the semester to go through and reread all of the discussion forums up to that point in case other students have posted new information. We need to proceed along the materials linearly and together. So that means that if you are gone for huge portions of the course and you provide me no explanation whatsoever, then you will either withdraw from the class or fail. It is not acceptable to turn in all of your work at the end of the semester. Similarly, if you don't listen to the lectures or do the reading, you will not get a good grade in this class. This class really only asks for a few things. It asks for you to do the readings, to listen to the lectures, to contribute to the discussion forum, and to occasionally write a paper in terms of a midterm and a final. If you do not do the bare minimum to get through the class, then you will not receive a good grade. If you know that you are going to be gone for a significant period of time and or an emergency or something of that nature has taken place, and that will cause you to miss or be late on a significant portion of your assignment, get in contact with me. Email me as soon as possible, and we can arrange something so that you do not suffer needlessly for these circumstances. Now, finally, we're going to discuss other rules for the course. All grades in this course are final and non-negotiable. So in other words, there is no haggling with me about your grades. There is extra credit, there are options available to you, but haggling with me is not one of them. No incompletes will be given for the semester unless you can demonstrate valid and compelling reasons. There will be no additional extra credit assignments beyond what is offered in the syllabus. If you fail to turn in a midterm or a final, you will fail the course. No form of academic dishonesty will be tolerated. All instances of academic dishonesty will be reported to the university administration. If you plagiarize, I will catch you. I have caught people almost every single semester I have been an instructor, and we'll have more to say on this in just a moment. You must demonstrate the appropriate respect for all fellow inquirers, and I promise to do my best in responding to your emails and questions right away, typically within 1 to 2 business days. Finally, no use of ChatGPT or any form of artificial intelligence will be allowed in this course. If you submit an assignment that I have good reason to suspect is artificially generated, you will receive a 0 for the assignment and will likely fail the class in case that assignment is a midterm or a final. There are no excuses. There are very few opportunities in life where you have the opportunity to read and write and have your reading and writing taken seriously by someone who cares about the material. This class is a space for that. When I give you a paper to do, it's not for the joy that I have for grading papers. It's for evaluating your work and helping you to improve. But I cannot help you improve if you are not responsible for writing your papers. There's no evaluative merit to me reading papers that are artificially generated. So no form of artificial intelligence will be allowed for any assignment during any part of this course. If I suspect you are using artificial intelligence, I will be in contact with you about it. Note that this is an extremely firm rule, and I view it as in concert with rule number 5, which is against academic dishonesty. When you are turning in a paper for this class, you are saying that you wrote that paper. If it was artificially generated, you did not write that paper, and you are now taking credit for something that you did not write. Okay, and the remainder of the syllabus discusses our reading schedule. You'll see that very often the total number of reading is usually about 30 to 40 pages for any given week. This will generally be what we will try to accomplish within this course. I'm very, very excited at the opportunity to be able to teach and learn early modern philosophy with you, and this course this semester is going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for the next video where we're going to be discussing sort of an introduction to early modern philosophy. Why is this class considered so important? What kind of philosophers are we going to be discussing? When did they write? And why is this period in particular so important for contemporary philosophy? I look forward to seeing you then. Okay, bye.